Good morning. Happy Monday. We're here again, y'all. Keeps coming up. One way or the other. It keeps showing up, and I don't know why. All right. January 17th. Let's get this show on the road. I'm going to continue the story of Joseph today, which I really love. All right. I just took my coffee out of the pot, and I need a sip. Pharaoh invites Jacob to Egypt. Genesis 45, 16 through 28, which was 1876 or 1710 BC. The news soon reached Pharaoh's palace. Joseph's brothers have arrived. Pharaoh and his officials were all delighted to hear this. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Tell your brothers, this is what you must do. Load your pack animals and hurry back to the land of Canaan. Then get your father and all your families and return here to me. I will give you the very best land in Egypt, and you will eat from the best that the land produces." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Tell your brothers, take wagons from the land of Egypt to carry your little children and your wives, and bring your father here. Don't worry about your personal belongings, for all the best of the land of Egypt is yours." So the sons of Jacob did as they were told. Joseph provided them with wagons, as Pharaoh had commanded, and he gave them supplies for their journey. And he also gave them new clothes, but to Benjamin he gave 5 changes of clothes and 300 pieces of silver. He also sent his father 10 male donkeys loaded with the finest products of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and other supplies he would need on his journey. I'm uncomfortable. I gotta get comfortable. This chair hurts my legs unless I'm sitting up. All right. So Joseph sent his brothers off, and as they left, he called after them, "Don't quarrel about all of this along the way." And they left Egypt and returned to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. "Joseph is still alive," they told him, "and he is governor of all the land of Egypt." Jacob was stunned at the news. He couldn't believe it. But when they repeated to Jacob everything Joseph had told them, and when he saw the wagons Joseph had sent to carry him, their father's spirits revived. Then Jacob exclaimed, "It must be true. My son Joseph is alive. I must go and see him before I die." Can you imagine? Can you imagine all of those years thinking your child was ripped apart by an animal in the woods and left and is dead, and you'll never see him again, and then somebody shows up and is like, "Hey, yo, your son's alive," and he's like governor over all of the country. Can you see, if they had had face back then, Jacob would have known long before, because his face would have been all over the news. Governor of Egypt stores food for 7 years famine. All right. Jacob's journey to Egypt. Genesis 46, 1 through 27. So Jacob set out for Egypt with all of his possessions, and when he came to Beersheba, he offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. During the night, God spoke to him in a vision. "Jacob, Jacob," he called. "Here I am," Jacob replied. "I am God, the God of your father," the voice said. "Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for there I will make your family into a great nation. I will go with you down to Egypt, and I will bring you back again. You will die in Egypt, but Joseph will be with you to close your eyes." So Jacob left Beersheba, and his sons took him to Egypt. They carried him and their little ones and their wives in the wagons Pharaoh had provided for them. They also took all their livestock and all the personal belongings they had acquired in the land of Canaan. So Jacob and his entire family went to Egypt, sons and granddaughters, daughters and granddaughters, sons and grandsons, daughters and granddaughters, all of his descendants. These are the names of the descendants of Israel, the sons of Jacob that went to Egypt. Reuben was Jacob's oldest son. The sons of Reuben were Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. The sons of Simeon were Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul. Shaul's mother was a Canaanite woman. The sons of Levi were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Judah were Onan, Shelah, Perez, Zerah, though and Onan had died in the land of Canaan. The sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Issachar were Tola, Pua, Jeshub, and Shimron. The sons of Zebulun were Sered, Elon, and Jaleel. The sons of Leah were and Jacob, who were born in Paddan Aram, in addition to their daughter Dinah. The number of Jacob's descendants, male and female, through Leah, was 33. Wow. The sons of Gad were Zephon, Haggai, Shuni, Esbon, Uri, Arodi, and Areli. The sons of Asher were Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, and Beriah. Their sister was Sarah. Beriah's sons were Heber and Melchiel. The sons of Zilpah, the servant given to Leah by her father Laban. The number of Jacob's descendants through Zilpah was 16. The sons of Jacob's wife Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. Joseph's sons born in the land of Egypt were Manasseh and Ephraim. Their mother was Asenath, daughter of Potipharah, the priest of On. Benjamin's sons were Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Ehi, Rosh, Muppim, Huppim, and Ard. Every time I read, doesn't it sound like a poem? What's that poem? Something and nod. Winkin', blinkin', and nod. That's what I think of every time I read that. Muppim, Huppim, and Ard. It's the biblical version of winkin', blinkin', and nod. These were the sons of Rachel and Jacob. The number of Jacob's descendants through Rachel was 14. The son of Dan was Husham. The sons of Naphtali were Jeziel, Guni, Jezer, and Shillem. The sons of Bilhah, the servant given to Rachel by her father, Laban. These were the sons of Bilhah. The number of Jacob's descendants through Bilhah was 7. The total number of Jacob's direct descendants who went with him to Egypt, not counting his sons' wives, was 66. In addition, Joseph had 2 sons who were born in Egypt. So altogether, there were 70 members of Jacob's family in the land of Egypt. Jacob's family arrives in Goshen. Genesis 46:28 through 34. As they neared their destination, Jacob sent Judah ahead to meet Joseph and get directions to the region of Goshen. And when they finally arrived there, Joseph prepared his chariot and traveled to Goshen to meet his father Jacob. When Joseph arrived, he embraced his father and wept, holding him for a long time. Finally, Jacob said to Joseph, "Now I am ready to die, since I have seen your face again and know you are still alive." And Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's entire family, "I will go to Pharaoh and tell them, 'My brothers and my entire family have come to me from the land of Canaan. These men are shepherds, and they raise livestock. They have brought with them their flocks and herds and everything they own.'" Then he said, "When Pharaoh calls for you and asks you about your occupation, you must tell him, 'We, your servants, have raised livestock all of our lives, as our ancestors have always done.' When you tell him this, he will let you live here in the region of Goshen, for the Egyptians despise shepherds." Jacob blesses Pharaoh. Genesis 47:1 through 12. Then Joseph went to see Pharaoh and told him, "My father and my brothers have arrived from the land of Canaan. They have come with their flocks and herds and possessions, and they are now in the region of Goshen." Joseph took 5 of his brothers with him and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh asked the brothers, "What is your occupation?" They replied, We, your servants, are shepherds, just like our ancestors. We have come to live here in Egypt for a while, for there is no pasture for our flocks in Canaan. The famine is very severe there. So please, we request permission to live in the region of Goshen." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Now that your father and brothers have joined you here, choose any place in the entire land of Egypt for them to live. Give them the best land of Egypt. Let them live in the region of Goshen. And if any of them have any special skills, put them in charge of my livestock too." Then Joseph brought his father, Jacob, and presented him to Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. "How old are you?" Pharaoh asked him. Jacob replied, "I have traveled this earth for 130 hard years, but my life has been short compared to the lives of my ancestors." Then Jacob blessed Pharaoh again before leaving his court. So Joseph assigned the best land of Egypt, the regions of Ramses, to his father and his brother, and he settled them there, just as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph provided for his food for his father and his brothers in amounts appropriate to the number of their dependents, including the smallest children. Joseph's leadership in the famine, Genesis 47:13 through 27. Meanwhile, the famine became so severe that all the food was used up, and people were starving throughout the lands of Canaan and Egypt. By selling grain to the people, Joseph eventually collected all the money in Egypt and Canaan, and he put the money in Pharaoh's treasury. When the people of Egypt and Canaan ran out of money, all the Egyptians came to Joseph. "Our money is gone," they cried, "but please give us food or we will die before your very eyes." Joseph replied, "Since your money is gone, bring me your livestock. I will give you food in exchange for livestock." So they brought their livestock to Joseph in exchange for food, in exchange for their horses, flocks, and sheep. In exchange for their horses, flocks of sheep and goats, herds of cattle, and donkey, Joseph provided them food for another year. But that year ended, and the next year came again and said, "We cannot hide the truth from you, my lord. Our money is gone, and all of our livestock and cattle are yours. We have nothing left to give but our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your very eyes? Buy us and our land in exchange for food. We offer our land and ourselves as slaves for Pharaoh. Just give us grain, so we may live and not die, and so the land does not become empty and desolate." So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. All the Egyptians sold him their fields because the famine was so severe, and soon the land had belonged to Pharaoh. As for the people, he made them all slaves, from one end of Egypt to the other. The only thing he did not buy was the land belonging to the priests. They received an allotment of food directly from Pharaoh, so they didn't need to sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people, "Look, today I have brought you and your land for Pharaoh. I will provide you with seed so that you can plant fields. Then you will harvest it. 1/5 of your crop will belong to Pharaoh. You may keep the remaining 4/5 as seeds for your fields and as food for you, your households, and your little ones." "You have saved our lives," they exclaimed. "May it please you, my lord, to let us be Pharaoh's servants." Joseph then issued a decree, still in effect in the land of Egypt, that Pharaoh should receive 1/5 of all the crops grown on his land. Only the land belonging to the priests was not given to Pharaoh. Meanwhile, the people of Israel settled in the region of Goshen and Egypt. There they acquired property, and they were fruitful, and their population grew rapidly. Okay. All right. Let's do our Trim Healthy Mama devotion, 100 Days of Inspiration. We're on day 17. Okay. Arise and shine. Does your spirit cringe as you see the evil encroaching more and more upon the land? My heart grieves, though God's word tells us darkness shall cover the earth, the gross darkness the people, and gross darkness the people. Darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. Okay, took me a minute to read that right. But my heart is also inspired by the rest of the prophecy. Arise and shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. The Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. It's time for us to arise and shine, to eradicate all darkness and sin from our personal life and our home. A little glimmer of light is not enough to push back the darkness. We have to be great light. Speaking of Jesus, Matthew 4:16 says, "The people which sat in darkness saw great light." What kind of light do people see in us? A faint glimmer or a great light? It won't just happen on its own. We have to arise and shine. Let's remember that Jesus, the great light, dwells in our hearts and wants to shine his light through us. Let's make our marriage and our home a shining lighthouse, pointing the way to those who are groping in darkness. We know the way, the truth, and the life. Why do we hide it? Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father, which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Nancy. Plant your roots in the good stuff. Psalm 1:3 says, "And he shall be like a tree planted by the river of waters, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf shall also not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper." This picture is also painted again in Jeremiah 17. It describes the tree spreading her roots by the river. The tree's leaves stay green, and the tree is not exhausted by the heat. Of course, Christ is our living water. He spiritually revives us so we never have to thirst again. But there is practical application too. Jeremiah uses a physical picture to explain a spiritual truth. What river are your body's roots plugged into? Is it a river of soda filled with chemicals, sugar, and bone-depleting phosphoric acid? Plug your roots into the liquid that sustains life, and your body will bring forth fruit. And then she's got a recipe here for lemon lime trim pop, which I think is in one of the cookbooks, but it's 12 ounces of sparkling water, so seltzer, ice, juice of a half a lemon and half a lime, or use the concentrate, 2 dunks of stevia, or 2 teaspoons of sweet blend if you have an extra sweet tooth. And the directions are to squeeze lemon juice into the large size jar, lemon or lime, or a little bit of both. Yeah, half and half. Add THM sweetener and stir and add sparkling water and ice. I don't think I've ever done that. As long as I've been doing this plan, I don't think I've ever made that lemon lime trim pop, and I know it's in the cookbook, and it seems pretty obvious that it would be Sprite-like. Who knew? Somebody make that today and let me know how it is. Life decisions. My family loves to remind me how I was once a tantrum-throwing toddler. I was out of control, feisty and fiery, like my red hair, which made my mom want to tear out her hair. My poor mother would lie awake at night worrying about my outcome. Would I grow up to be a wild woman? When I was 6, I thought about my behavior as I watched my mom under the stress from the back seat of the car. And I told her that I wanted to be good. She probably said something like, "That's good, Meadow," and thought, "Yeah, right." But I really did want to be good. After that moment, being bad was my dread. And if I was ever bad, it would plague me for a long time. I would even make confessions. Sometimes I tried to be so good that I'd say things like, "Mom, I don't know if I lied, but what if it was a lie?" I was so scared of lying. I valued my mom's instructions to act like a lady. Marin does it all the time. But what if it wasn't true? I think it was true, but what if it wasn't? Of course, my decision to be good didn't mean I was suddenly perfect, but it greatly influenced my whole outlook on life. It goes to show you can make life decisions at any age and you can stick to them. That's true. Young or old, when it comes to Trim Healthy Mama and healthy decisions and staying on plan, just because you've had a habit for 40 years or just because you've had a way of life or way of eating for 65 years, it doesn't mean it's too late to change. You're capable. You just do it. It's up to you, no one else. Just do it. Be like Nike. Just do it. All right, you guys, thank you for joining me today. I hope you, I hope you were more awake than I am. For breakfast this morning, I don't know what I'm going to actually eat. I may not even cook my actual food on camera. I think I might just have some bacon and eggs. But for this morning, I am going to attempt to make a Java chip Frappuccino like Starbucks makes. So I've been researching how Starbucks makes their Frappuccinos. And they make a base, a syrupy base that they use in all of their Frappuccinos, which I had heard before, but never really thought much about. So I'm going to make a syrupy Frappuccino base that can be used in any Frappuccino. And then I'm going to try to make a Java chip Frappuccino. And hopefully it will be yummy. And yeah, it's cold out and I'm still making a Frappuccino. Who cares? People eat Frappuccinos in the cold. So, all right. You did, Mallory. I'm so glad. All right. So I will be live in just a few minutes for breakfast. I have to get my ingredients together. And I will be live. So I hope to see you there. And I hope my Frappuccino doesn't fail, because a failed frap would be no fun. That sounds like a poem, a kid's poem. Failed fraps are no fun. All right, you guys. I love you all. Have a blessed day. I will see you back tomorrow for more devotions. And